This meeting is being recorded.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Dan Bell from the Hampton Roads Innovation Collaborative, the region's tech council, a 501c6 organization that was founded in the late 90s. We are 100% volunteer based, and we try to do wonderful things for our region with respect to business programming, information sharing, etc. And I want to ask Barrett Stork from Cox Communications to say a few words. Cox has been a wonderful sponsor for this series and continues to do so. And Barrett, the microphone is yours. Oh, by the way, before we get going, may I ask everybody except the speaker to turn your video cameras off and your microphones off. I can do it from here too, but go ahead and take a shot at it. Otherwise, I'll take care of it in short order. Barrett, microphone is yours.
Great. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you having us here and for the collaborative, letting us continue to sponsor this wonderful series we have each month. For those who don't know me, my name is Barrett Stork. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for Cox Communications here in Virginia. Cox has been here actually for more than 40 years, much longer than I've been with the company. We actually even began way back in 1898, and we're now the largest family-owned broadband company in the country. We've invested billions of dollars in our Virginia network, and we're continuing to invest even more in our fiber-based network here. We serve any size business from small mom and pops all the way up to biotech researchers and higher education providers. We offer businesses a whole host of options, including 100 gigabit service, cloud storage with military-grade encryption, and even connectivity to the transatlantic fibers. In fact, we provide the critical infrastructure that helped to bring the first fiber from the beach to the data landing station in Corporate Landing. We're also working on opportunities to further expand and enhance our residential offerings. We're deploying more fiber to new and existing neighborhoods. We've even got some down in Chesapeake. We're almost done finishing up our build out down there. And we've got a plan to offer 10 gigabit symmetrical service to all homes in our footprint. Thanks to the extensive backbone, fiber backbone that we've been deploying, we can also offer a whole suite of smart community services as well. If you or anyone you know is interested in chatting more about those services, please just ping me and let me know. And as always, feel free to contact me if you have any issues with your service at all. I'll drop my email address into the chat. And with that, back to you, Dan.
Thank you very much, Barrett. I'd like to now introduce our speaker, Ms. Susan Vitale, and I don't know how she found time to do this for us. First and foremost, of course, she's the chair of the Southside Network Authority, and that's a big deal with this whole project. I'm sure that keeps her busy, but that's not enough. You see, she's also a managing director for Microsoft, responsible for sales and service and business development and all that, and I'm sure that keeps her pretty busy too. But that's not enough. You see, she's got more hours in her day. She is also a serving councilwoman for the city of Chesapeake. And so I thought that when I was her age, 50 or 60 years ago, that I was kept pretty busy, but it's remarkable, I think, what Susan is doing. And I, for one, must thank you for your contribution to the region and even to the city of Chesapeake. So thank you very much for that. And with that, I will turn it over to Susan to lead the program of Regional Fiber Ring, a Reality. Go for it.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. That was so kind of you. And I'll tell you what, my motto is better busy than bored. So, it's a pleasure to be here with y'all and keeping the great news of our Regional Fiber Ring and being able to bring this to you today. Barrett had some wonderful words, and I appreciate Cox's, contributions in this area as well as their partnership. I'm going to walk through, our regional fiber ring. It is, going to be, an interesting opportunity that's going to expand the possibilities for economic development and all sorts of things in our region, even further than beyond where it is now. So, we kind of started out gosh, I took office in 2018, and Peter, you were involved in this even before, much longer, along with some of our other colleagues. But it was, you know, uh, probably around 2018 that things really started to kind of gel. Where the prior to that, the 5 Southside cities of the 17 municipalities in Hampton Roads, and the 17 came together and said, hey, we recognize that there's some opportunities, we have some concerns, issues that we're all facing, and decided to, kind of tackle this issue. And it was the 5 Southside cities that really kind of got together and decided this is, we're gonna start it. The issues kind of centered around things like, the limited number of data service providers. The fact that we did have at that time some, and still to this day have unserved and underserved areas, what sometimes you'll hear called digital deserts. And that we were, still often paying quite a bit for our internet services as individual cities, and wanted to be able to address that in a more holistic approach. We also felt like we had some missed opportunities with both economic development, education, and of course, mind you, this was all pre-COVID. This was before we ever were in the environment that we are today, or have been in the last 2 years. And then certainly for our healthcare and just general quality of life. So looking at all those options and all those issues, we also found that we had an opportunity. And that opportunity, as Barry alluded to, also came to us in the form of these undersea cables. And you're probably thinking, okay, what's up with the undersea cables? How is that important to us? Well, when Sandy, if y'all remember the storm Sandy that knocked New York City for a loop, that time, really the main areas of internet connectivity with Europe, Africa, South America was all through Miami, mainly for South America, and through New York for Europe and some of the other continents. And so when Sandy occurred, they realized that, wow, we probably need to be putting some more landing spots along the coast, because this is going to be, we don't want to be have a one-stop failure or two-stop failure. So we started getting, as you can see them depicted in the diagram, we started receiving some of these undersea cables. The Maria cable was the first. And in doing so, that really opened up even more opportunity to really create a digital port here in Hampton Roads. I try to give people an understanding of how big the data, how big these cables are, not in necessarily physical size, but as far as data size goes. And when you look at the data size, just to give you an idea of how big they are, if you in one, just think about every movie that's ever been made in every language ever spoken, and transmitting that from Portugal to Virginia Beach in 60 seconds. That's a big, big data pipe. And so, you're talking about massive amounts, or what we call in the business big data opportunities. And, of course, there's another aspect to that, and that it is our proximity to these cables that really lends itself to the great opportunities we have here in Hampton Roads. Because anyone who's had their TV on in 2 different rooms, you may have seen it back in the coax days. You'd have the show playing in the living room, and like there'd be a just a fraction of a second delay into your kitchen television right nearby. That's called latency. And that latency can be, is really greatly reduced with fiber optic technology, certainly, but it also ends up being a big issue when you talk about certain industries that we're going to cover shortly. And so as a result, we have an opportunity here that we saw and said, we need to take advantage of this. So as a result, we created the 5 Southside cities, created the Southside Network Authority in 2019. The goal of this was to obviously lower the cost for our government. But I think somebody is off mute, but that's okay. that it was to lower the overall cost for our cities, individual from a government perspective, to really maximize taxpayer funds, to create maybe a faster service for us and enhance broadband coverage throughout our region. And so we designed, started looking at this regional ring and designed it so that we would be able to start it here in, southern portion of the Hampton Roads area and expand it to those other localities. So when you look at what we're looking at, this is our vision of the regional fiber optic ring for this area. Now you're kind of going, I'm sorry, where's the ring part? Well, that's the best part. So you can see that here down in this area is where the 5 South Side cities have joined together, and we are creating our initial 5 ring. But you can see the red expands all the way up into the and westward out into these areas. Can everybody hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, Susan.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of a feedback, and I just want to make sure that everything's that I'm not talking to air. So when it's all built out, this is what we envision this ring will look like, and this network will look like. And the way that, I always kind of refer to this when we're talking about, what we're building here. We're really building what could be analogous to a national highway system. We're building what we call middle mile. That means that we're not going out to everybody's house. We're not doing what Cox does, where, we're going out to houses and creating that, what they call last mile. We're doing the middle mile. We're doing the interstates. We're creating a ring so that we have the connectivity to be able to then allow for additional internet providers to bring out and build out those secondary roads, or maybe those off ramps from the highway, to be able to have additional capability. And that, of course, is going to end up, doing a lot of things for this region. This is what our regional ring looks like. And you can see it there in blue. And the great part about this is not only is this going to be the regional ring for the 5 Southside cities and be the stepping off point for our additional sister cities to the east, north, and west of us, but it also allows every city in Hampton Roads, and particularly in the South Side right now, to leverage that for their own city rings. And so that's really an important leveraging piece to this. Our digital highway consists of 288 strands. That means that we have a lot of capability and a lot of capacity. About 6 are going to be reserved for each city. And, but we're going to have some that are going to be used for education, some that'll be reserved for public safety. And we're going to have a lot of excess that will be able to, accommodate the business and economic development area. And so when we say that we're building this excess capacity in, what that means is that we're building this ring with additional strands that we're not going to use, that will not be lit up. That means they're going to be what we call dark fiber. And we'll be able to lease those to these other entities, whether it's other internet providers that will go out to the individual homes, whether it's, the local, research companies, and all of these will end up being able to connect back, to those transatlantic cables. So what's that mean when it comes to, our industrial area and in the industries that could be attracted to this? Well, I mentioned before that, about latency and about how that's a really big issue in many of our industries today, particularly in, advanced technology, manufacturing, financial services. When you're trading stocks, nanoseconds count. And so the closer you are to those big, huge pipes, the better you are financially and from a business standpoint. So as you can see here, we have, quite a few different areas, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. I list these just, as a kind of get those juices flowing on what opportunities could be, we could be really targeting here for, this to leverage this ring. and I promise you, I did not put Microsoft in there. The slides were developed. But nevertheless, there's opportunities for data transfer and storage. And that's one area where Henrico County has really put a lot of their effort. And as a result, what we're looking at now is maybe even potentially creating in this whole region expanded up into that area to actually become a global internet hub. So there are some really exciting things on the horizon, but it's not just about economic development, although it's near and dear to my heart. Certainly, there's other opportunities that are that are going to be impacted. We have our emergency response system and our public safety. Being able to have a network where the pipes are this big, you can imagine the opportunities for interoperability there. Even the opportunity for taking advantage of drone and video technology there to be able to make sure that we have think of drones going out to an accident, to an emergency situation, and being able to provide guidance to folks there before physical officers can get on the site. Things like that we look at and think, my gosh, is that the Matrix? It's like, no, it's actually right around the corner, and we're setting ourselves up with the infrastructure to be able to take advantage of that. When you look at the Internet of Things with individual sensors, being able to have an opportunity to navigate our flooding and sea level rise. And obviously every city in the South Side certainly has an issue with this. So being able to reroute traffic and being able to take advantage of autonomous vehicles in the future, along with smart cities, which here in Chesapeake, we're already starting to look at smart city opportunities and employ those in the future. So this is opportunity just keeps going and going. And when you think about one of our greatest assets in this country, in this region and in our country, near and dear to my heart, having served 26 years in the United States Navy, I think that we look at BRAC and say, wow, the Navy wants 30% of their local workforce to telework. That's going to be a huge factor when they are making the decisions on the next BRAC. So I think that being able to kind of BRAC proof us is another big benefit of this ring. Speaking of teleworking, creating this opportunity for hybrid workforce. I've been working for Microsoft for 7 years now, and I have worked right here in my home that entire time. And so this is now with COVID now an even larger issue. Prior to COVID, I remember, thinking, wow, it's probably going to be, quite some time before the rest of the country, the rest of the world, and certainly the US government is going to be able to embrace, working from home in a hybrid environment. And here we are, now at 2025, looking at 50% of our workforce will be distributed by then. So this is going to create that backbone to do that. Ultimately, we're looking at, quality of life here. This is we have so many wonderful things that bring, people to Hampton Roads. And this regional ring is now going to allow and enable many of those opportunities to thrive and take it to the next level. Our regional ring is already, we broke ground on the 6th of April. We are fully funded. All 5 Southside cities, brought $5 million apiece because they realized how incredibly important the opportunity here is. And it's funny when we had our groundbreaking, sorry, my voice is a little bit, little laryngitis lately. That was, when I started out my comments, I said, if you think that, regionalism isn't alive and well, you haven't been paying attention. Look at all the amazing programs and projects that we have going, but this is one that is no doubt another feather in our cap for this region for working together because we are better together. Obviously, every jurisdiction is able to achieve their own vision. And as I mentioned, they can leverage the regional ring to be able to, use this for their own individual cities. But at the end of the day, we're going to be looking at the, first capability starting at the end of 2023. We've already broken ground. We're already started in Virginia Beach. And I want to, big shout out to Virginia Beach. Excuse me. If it wasn't for Virginia Beach, accepting and saying, hey, we really, we think this is an opportunity to work together, and being such a great partner, I'm not sure we would have done this so quickly. So, really want to thank every participant, every city, but Virginia Beach has really done a great job of being a wonderful partner with us. You can see here what the timeline was. And, we've, again, already awarded a contract to Danella. We are looking at other partners to help with maintenance and with being, frankly, some of our greatest, anchor partners in the leasing path. And so we're really excited to get, this rolling. We've already gotten a great start, and I think you're going to see some really great changes to our region. Stephen DeBerry is our executive director. He's sitting there, in the third from the left in the back row. We have engaged CTC, who's helping us with our oversight and technical support. And then, as I mentioned, Danella is our construction partner. And that's about it. Are there any questions? I know I kind of ran through that, but are there any questions that I can answer? And I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and kind of go back to our screen.
Great information. Yep, we do have some questions on chat. And folks, feel free to unmute yourself. And let's start off with Rich. Go ahead, Rich. Go for your security question.
Yeah, I just read, briefly scanned the CNN report about Huawei, putting a lot of their gear in cell towers near military bases, et cetera, et cetera. And I wonder if it's possible for you to comment on any of the cybersecurity, digital security aspects as you put all of this together.
So I won't go too deep into it, although there's certainly folks on the line that can go a lot deeper even than I. But yes, the bottom line is we are everything that we do, and I will, I say this from, as a member of the IT community, as well as chair of the Southside Network Authority, that, if you're in the tech world, that cyber, that security has to be built into everything you do from the ground up. It's not something that really can be an add-on. It just doesn't work as well. And so we are absolutely have designed this ring to be secure, to be able to both be physically secure as well as digitally, secure. That is absolutely paramount, because if you don't have that security, then nothing else works. So I won't go into a lot of detail, nor will anybody else who has a lot of knowledge on this on the call, mainly because it is, we obviously want to make sure that we're, keeping that security, in a good way. We're kind of protecting that, but yes, we are definitely building this with that in mind.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Rick.
And this is Peter Wallace. That I just want to echo what the cheerleader just said, that everything that we do, when it comes to fast data, you got to have cyber, right? You cannot have data without having protection. So we won't get into much details about it, but yeah, all of the promises is built on that. It's not just the ring too, but pretty much speaking for all of the 5 cities here too, our application, any public facing event is really built around that premise.
Thank you. Peter Glanville, you had a question about education.
Absolutely. Yeah, the question is mainly when you were talking about strands that were going to be set aside specifically for education. Is that K-12 only, or are we talking higher ed and kind of everything in between?
Yeah, so that is everything. Clearly, we're, individual cities. I mean, I know I can speak for Chesapeake, that our Chesapeake ring, which does leverage a portion of the regional ring that runs through Chesapeake, we are then leveraging that for our city ring to connect every school, to connect every police station, to every municipal building. But yes, schools are a big part of that. So that is K through 12, and I will say that, that's, again, I'm speaking from Chesapeake's perspective on that. I don't want to imply that every city is connecting their schools like we are, but yes, that is a reserve for that. And then in addition to that, yes, absolutely, colleges and higher education, that's a big area that we're already starting to, look at partners and even potentially some co-build opportunities for higher ed.
This is Dan.
Awesome.
That
Thank
was
you.
a question that I had about the higher education. The universities have been known for having their own rings, if you will, for years and years and years. But to what extent is it a viable possibility that these rings will be connected?
So, as far as, connecting, I mean, I guess, if you're saying that, yes, they've had rings to, that have connected them. Now, they can leverage our ring as part of that and bring that as part of their own, just like Chesapeake is leveraging a portion, and all the cities, 5 Southside cities are leveraging a portion of the regional ring. They can also use that to, leverage the ring to can then go out into their own rings. So there's definitely opportunity for that connectivity and that connection. And, again, that's just, great partnership that we're looking forward to be able to start doing with, some of the universities around here, as well as research centers.
Great point. The follow-up I had is about biomed, and of course that I think that's coming as well. But any other questions from the audience? I've got a couple more, but feel free.
You hear me okay? It's Rob.
Yeah,
There you are,
Rob.
Rob. I was going to say you were on mute, but now we're good. I can hear you.
Okay. I've learned virtual through this a little more. Yeah, Susan, this may be a hybrid hat for you between the Microsoft hat and then your policy hat, maybe including a little bit of counsel. But the assumption of just greater broadband, I get both the benefit of that. But I guess thinking through the remote work and remote lifestyle, not everyone has the same infrastructure. Not everyone has the same handhelds and technology, hardware. How are you guys thinking about, things like digital divide and, just different economic classes having, just the most options and, the best education in an opt-in basis?
I love this question. And I love it because, in fact, I can, I'll kind of stick more with my, policy hat on this, because I think this is such a, critical need, to bridge that divide. I will tell you, and I won't, when it comes to that question, it kind of starts to get down into that, municipal level, because you're talking about education, you're talking about how are we going to use this, particularly for, that those underserved areas in each city. Let me answer first for what we're looking at in Chesapeake. And then I'll tell you what I think is the right answer to really tackle this. So one of the things that, and Jay is on, who's our, and I don't think, is Scott on too? I don't think Scott's on right now. But our, in Chesapeake, we're getting ready to build out ours. We're having our groundbreaking. We've actually been ready to go, and we're about to have our groundbreaking on our ring. And we recently, at one of our, our meetings that we have, our regular meetings, we talked about the fact that, we have to now at this point start addressing that digital divide. We have opportunities to really say, which way are we going to build first? And I know in, Chesapeake, we're looking at, hey, we have, we're going to try to start building in a couple of different areas at the same time, to expedite the build. And, one of the looks is, okay, we're going to start looking at where are the underserved areas? If we have opportunities to branch off and maybe go there first, that's where we want to go. And then, beyond that, once the ring is built, I think we have opportunity to then, start incentivizing, because again, we're not going out to in the Chesapeake's regional ring or the Chesapeake City ring, we're not going out to individual homes. That's private sector's, job. But what government can do is help to incentivize private sector to then go out to those underserved areas first and reach that, first through, potentially through things like reduced rates for leasing rates, if they go to those areas first. So I think that there's, opportunity like that. And then again, there are so many grant programs right now. I mean, one of the things I think COVID did, and I will say that our region is so far ahead of the curve because, prior to COVID, we were already well into this. We had already working on our design, already, getting the money, COVID really, now has created this where a lot of other, municipalities are looking at it and now they're behind the power curve, particularly with labor and, materials that we're able to go ahead and move forward with. But with that, I think that being able to, look at grant opportunities that have now come out of COVID and the recognition that we need to have, not just a hybrid work environment, but an ability to have our children learn at home. And I will tell you, in Chesapeake alone, we have had, children who, particularly in our southern air regions and that, are just in the rural areas, but even those in, in South Norfolk, which for those of you who don't know is part of Chesapeake, is, that they, we have had a real issue with, being able to bridge that digital divide. And so I think this is going to be a really great opportunity to do that and to be able to partner with our schools, which, from day one in Chesapeake, our schools have been a part of the conversation. And, along with our hospital and along with all the other, stakeholders that this incredible opportunity, impacts. Does that help answer the question or?
I thought that was fair. I think the one litmus test you would also see is from the real estate developers, because I think things going from, let's say, inner city to sort of more the suburban and rural, that's an interesting area. And I think in Hampton Roads, as well as in Virginia, we're blessed with both economies.
Right. That's the beautiful thing about this is it really does impact every aspect of our, as we say in Chesapeake, work, live, learn, work, farm, and play. So
thank you.
Good thing. Any other questions?
Rick, you had a follow-up, didn't you?
Yeah. The education piece gets me over into the research piece, and the question is, will there be connectivity to various federal labs? And the example that comes to mind is Langley Research Center has, for small businesses, a number of programs where they can get access to a lot of the code, the programs, the algorithms and stuff to do testing, and there's grants involved, etc. I have no idea if small businesses will be able to connect to the ring, but the whole question is enabling access digitally between small business, medium business, government labs, etc. That's the question.
Absolutely. In fact, we're already, having those kind of discussions with the labs because we recognize that this, and they recognize that this is a game changer. And so, yes, absolutely. That's the beautiful thing about this is, we have 288 strands, but, we can build more. And, we have this conversation, in our SNA meetings. And if there's two things that, that Peter and Jay and some of the others that are, on the authority will attest to, I have two mantras. Time is of the essence. And right now, Peter's going, time is of the essence. You could see his lips move as if his video was on. And the other thing, is that, if you build it, they will come. We can make more. We have the opportunity to continue to put more fiber in. We are absolutely taking a look at that to make sure that we are, future-proofing ourselves and making sure that we can always put more conduit in, that we're able to put more strands through the conduit. So, those research areas and, other organizations, we're able to accommodate that, and we're looking for that, and we want to partner with them.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So this is Dan again to call out the name of the dearly departed singer Meatloaf. Susan, you took the words right out of my mouth. So if you build it, they will come. So a couple of questions associated to that. Number one, the number of undersea cables. What's the trajectory there for the count?
Oh my gosh, Peter probably would have a better answer on this one, but right now I think we're up to what, 4, Peter, that are totally, and then
That is correct. And Dennis, let you know, we do have 2 landing sites, right? So we have the Campbell site that could hold up to about 8 or 9. And we also have another 6 in Sandbridge. So we have capacity to get a lot more. We're just getting started.
just getting
Fantastic.
started.
And then putting on your city hat for a moment, and this really is a question to all municipalities, but again, if you build it, they will come. This has to give the economic development departments some raw meat to run with. And are you seeing that, whether it's financial institutions, what have you, the ability to connect with tremendous throughput, minimal latency, things of that nature has to be something they're promoting.
Yeah, and from your lips to their ears, because that's exactly what we want to see happen. We are right now, working on the marketing piece for the Ring, because it is so incredibly important that we get out in front of that, right? We've broken ground, and we now need to make sure that the message is getting out, that we're out there recruiting and actively engaging with companies, not just here in America, but in Europe and across the ocean as well, because those are companies that are absolutely looking at this area. We have, and when you think about the things that marry up with this, offshore wind and our ability in this region to be able to repair windmills, and be able to have, not only a port that can accommodate that, but a workforce that can accommodate that. And now you have high, advanced manufacturing that, could benefit from having, this big data pipe type environment. We need to be taking a very active role in looking at these industries, looking at these companies that we can recruit and bring them in and let them, see what we're doing. So yes, that is a huge part of this, is we've got to get the message out.
Thank you, Susan. Any other questions from the audience? Well, they're a quiet bunch. I don't understand why.
I haven't been too quiet, but it's been great.
Well,
And
I think it's because you've done such a great job in delivering the information and your presentation. So you answered their questions in many cases before they had it. So last call for questions. Otherwise, we're going to call a dividend and get us out of here into the warm, balmy weather of wherever you might be, in 15 minutes early. Last call for questions.
And I just want to say one more thing. I just want to thank everybody who's had a hand in the Southside Network Authority. This has been a very long ride, and a lot of folks have been on this earlier and have, contributed. And, then there have been others that have taken that and run with it, to where we are today. And so I just want to thank everybody who's been a part, even before the authority was in existence.
Well put. And what would Al Gore say today? I don't know, but he'd have to be happy. Partially anyway. But Susan, thank you very much. We've been wanting to have this program on for so long, and it's just been so challenging. And it's a moving target, and so timing was everything. And you've done a wonderful job. You are my new friend for at least a couple different reasons.
New best friend, right?
Absolutely. So once again, thank you. Thank you to Susan. Thank you to all participants. Thank you to Cox for sponsoring this series. And We'll be back next month. I'm not sure which program yet, but we'll be back with something. You know, we're kind of like that bad penny, keeps showing up. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Signing off.
Hey, everyone.
Bye-bye.